What's up guys, Jeff Benjamin here, and yes, I am back and I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for having me, but enough about that. Let's talk about mastering the iOS home screen. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, Jeff, the iOS home screen, I'm already a master at that. And here's my response to that. I guarantee you that you're gonna learn something new in this video. For example, did you know that you can move app icons from Spotlight directly to a specific page in Spot via the home screen page editor? Yeah, there's timestamps for all 85 sections of this guide, so definitely check those out. And of course, if you're new to the iPhone, this guide is for you as well. In short order, it will help you master your iPhone's home screen. Okay, so enough chit chat, let's go ahead and jump in right now.
Thanks for watching 9 to 5 Mac. Be sure to thumbs up, click the subscribe button, and then enable notifications with the bell icon so you won't miss any upcoming videos.
Okay, so we're gonna start off with some extreme basics. Launching apps. Obviously, you tap an app, you launch that app just like that. To close it, you swipe up on the home indicator like this to get back to the home screen. Now stay tuned because I do have an upcoming video with a deep dive into iOS multitasking, so you definitely want to subscribe for that. But launching apps, closing apps, pretty basic affair. Let's move on. Display zoom allows you to increase the size of on-screen assets. Let me show you what I mean here. So if you go to settings and you tap on display and brightness, you'll see at the bottom display zoom. So this allows you to adjust the view for your iPhone. Larger text will show larger controls, while default will show more content. And of course, it defaults to the default setting. So basically, choosing the larger text option will zoom in to the interface at the expense of the on-screen content. And I'll show you what I mean. So you just tap done, and then you tap where it says use zoomed, and your device will soft reboot, and it's really quick. So once you come back up, you can immediately tell you have larger text there, but you'll also see that that comes at the expense of displaying less content. So here it is without display zoom. Now compare with display zoom, and you can see that there is less content being displayed in this message thread than when display zoom is disabled. So here's my home screen with display zoom. Notice the larger icons, and here it is without display zoom. Now, whether we like it or not, the wallpaper is a big part of iOS 16's home screen. So we're going to go into settings, wallpaper. Here you can see the currently configured wallpaper, and you can see how each is paired with its lock screen companion. So you just tap set as current to change your wallpaper, and there you can see it changes it just like that. So if we go back into settings, wallpaper, we can scroll over again, and you can tap to add new wallpaper there or right here as well. Now this will bring up the add new wallpaper interface, and you can scroll through there. There's a lot of personal photos there, so that's why I have those censored out. But I'm going to add a new photo wallpaper. I just want to show you guys some of the things you can do. So I'm going to select this photo right here, and now we're just going to tap the add button in the upper right hand corner. But notice this, you can set as a wallpaper pair. So we'll swipe up, you can see the wallpaper here on the home screen. It's blurred out. We'll talk about that in a second. But if we lock our device, we could see the lock screen wallpaper with that photo unblurred. So we're going to go into settings, wallpaper, and we're going to tap the customize button on the home screen. And there you can change the wallpaper from a photo to a color, and you can go in and choose any color. You can customize the intensity. You can do so also for gradients as well. Just like that. You can also select a new photo, or we can change the original and blur or unblur. So that was a very high level quick overview of wallpaper, and there's so much more involved with the lock screen in particular, so stay tuned for that. I have a dedicated video in the works. Now let's talk about invoking Spotlight search from the home screen. So of course you can swipe down like I just did there and type in your search terms, and you can do that from any of the home screen pages. But iOS 16 has a search button shortcut right on the home screen. You just tap it like that, and that will invoke Spotlight as well from any of the home screen pages. Again, just tap like that and you can perform your search. Now, admittedly, not everyone is a fan of the Spotlight shortcut button right there on the home screen, so if you'd like to disable it, just go to Settings, go to Home Screen, and then turn off the Show on Home Screen switch under the search heading. Now when you do that, you'll notice that the home screen is reflected by the page dots at the bottom of the interface right above the dock, and each dot represents its own unique page. But if you re-enable the Spotlight shortcut and you scroll, you'll notice that the page dots are still there, but they look a little bit different, and that's because they're embedded within that search shortcut, and thus they only appear when you scroll your page. Like this. So this too allows you to see where you are as far as pages on the home screen, and as you'll see in a few minutes, there's a lot more involved with these page dots. Stay tuned. So one of the nice things about the dock at the bottom of the screen is that no matter which page you scroll to, all the apps that are in the dock are always available to you. So place your most used apps there. If you have a larger iPhone and you're using it with one hand, you may find it difficult to reach some of the app icons at the top. But if you do like this, swipe down from the bottom of the screen, this invokes Reachability, a tool that makes it easier to reach content at the top of the screen. You can toggle this feature by tapping on Settings, Accessibility, and Touch, and there you'll find the Reachability switch, which is enabled by default. As mentioned earlier, the home screen page dots indicate which page you're actually on, but there's a hidden feature. Simply tap and scroll right on the page dots to quickly switch between home screen pages, just like that. Now that's with the spotlight shortcut disabled, but what happens when we re-enable that shortcut? Well, you don't see page dots until you start scrolling, but regardless, if you tap and scroll, you can still scroll through each home screen page, but you'll also notice a slightly different momentum when scrolling through each page when the spotlight shortcut is enabled. The app library, first introduced in iOS 14, provides a storage space for all the apps installed on your device, even when not displayed on the home screen. And the app library is the next page over from the last home screen page. So there it is. So you'll notice you'll have all these various categories that are auto-generated, for instance, recently added or creativity, and you'll be able to find every app installed on your device right here. Now, of course, you can launch apps directly from the app library. And what you're going to notice is that when the app library categories have 4 or less app icons, you're going to be able to launch any of those apps directly with just a tap like that. So Uber, I can launch that, or the Ivory Beta, which is awesome. But what if the category contains more than 4 app icons? Well, you'll see an example of that here with the creativity category. So you'll see in the bottom right hand corner, smaller app icons. When you tap that, it expands the category so you can find all the apps within that category, and then you can launch from this category page. So I can tap to launch, for instance, the Shutter Count app, and then when I swipe up, it goes back to the category page, and then if I tap, I go back to the app library. Now you can search for apps using the app library as well. You just simply tap the little search box at the top and then the search interface appears, or you can just swipe down like that and the search interface appears that way. So you just type in your query. So I'll type in over or OVE for overcast and it finds that just like that. And I can do the same thing for Ivory. But the point is this search within the app library is dedicated to apps that are on your phone right now. Now the app library also is a great way to list all apps installed on your phone in alphabetical order. So you can see here, you swipe down and then you can scroll through the list of all the apps. You can see them in alphabetical order from A to Z. And you can use this little quick scroll shortcut to jump to a specific letter. So if I want to launch the Watch app, I just scroll to W, just like that. App Library Search also allows you to find apps from specific developers. So if I type in Apple, it'll filter on apps developed by Apple. Same thing goes for Google. So if I type in Google, you can see Drive, Sheets, Google Maps, and Voice. Now you may have noticed that the app icons in the app library lack any sort of notification badges. And that's actually a feature that's enabled by default. So if you go to Settings and then you go down to Home Screen, you're going to find a switch under the notification badges heading to show in app library. So if you enable that, now when you go back to the app library, you're going to see those notification badges for the various apps with pending notifications. When you download an app from the App Store, you can make those newly downloaded apps skip the home screen completely and just go straight to the app library. So right now by default, when I download an application, you can see it goes to one of the available home screen pages just like this. But what if we didn't want that to happen? Well, we can go back to Settings Home Screen and you'll see an option under newly downloaded apps. You can just set that to App Library Only. So now when we go back to the App Store, we download an app, you're going to notice you don't see it displayed on the home screen. But if you go over to the App Library, you're going to see it's installing right there under Recently Added. So it outright skips adding to the home screen. Now, did you know that you could pause, prioritize, and cancel App Store downloads mid-download? Well, let me show you how to do that. So I'm going to download several apps at the same time. You can see them added to the home screen. Now watch what happens when I long press on an app that hasn't started its download. You can see a quick action shortcut to prioritize that download. So this app will now download with priority. But watch what happens when I long press on an in progress download. You get quick action shortcuts to pause the download and to cancel the download. So these three options can come in handy if you have a whole lot of apps downloading simultaneously, for instance, with a restore. So you can prioritize the most important apps, for instance, a password manager, to download first. And there are many other quick action shortcuts that you'll find. For instance, long press on the settings app icon, you'll find direct links to specific sections of the settings app. For instance, you can jump directly to the battery section. And in one fell swoop, you don't actually have to lift your finger off the screen. You can jump directly to a specific section of other apps, such as the App Store or the Clock app. And third-party apps can take advantage of quick action shortcuts as well. But here you can see, using the Clock app icon, I quickly started a timer. And you can also use quick action shortcuts with apps in the app library. So you can directly jump to a section of the settings app directly from the settings app icon within the app library. Same thing goes for other apps as well. So now I'll show you how to remove apps from the home screen, but keep them in the app library. So if you long press on an app icon, you're going to see the option to remove that app. Just tap that, and now you'll see three options: delete app, remove from home screen, or cancel. So removing from the home screen will keep the app in your app library if you select that option. So now when we go to the app library and search for Scanner Pro, we see it right there. So you can see Scanner Pro is still installed on your device. Even though you removed it from the home screen, it still resides in app library. But what if you wish to delete an app completely? Well, long press on the app icon, select remove app, then choose delete app. This will remove the app and its data from your phone. It'll keep anything that's stored in iCloud, but if you tap delete, it will remove the app from both the home screen and app library. Now, you can also delete and restore stock applications. You can't do this for every app. For instance, the Messages app, you can only remove it from the home screen because it is a prerequisite for iOS. But for an app like the Music app, you can actually delete that app. So let me show you how this works. I'm going to use it with the News app. I'm going to go in, remove the app, and select delete app. And just like it was a third-party app, this will completely remove the News app from my device. Now, if I go back out to the App Store and search for the News app, there we go. So just open that up and I can reinstall Apple News just like it was any other app that I wanted to install. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but I have a lot of notification badges on things like Mail and Phone and Messages. And honestly, while that can be a good thing, it can also be a distraction and kind of weigh you down. So I'm going to show you, if you go to Settings, Notifications, you can disable those badges for specific applications. So for instance, Mail. I go into Mail, turn off the badges switch, and now when I go back to the home screen, no more badge on Mail. Obviously, you want to use that carefully, but for me, I definitely prefer it this way. Okay, so now let's talk about entering edit, aka wiggle mode. So one way to do so is to long press on an app icon and select edit home screen. There you go, you have your icons wiggling, hence wiggle mode, and your home screen's ready to be edited. Now another way to get into edit mode or wiggle mode is to simply continue to long press on the app icon like that. And another way to enter wiggle mode is to long press on a blank area of the screen like this, and you'll see it enter wiggle mode. Now, another way is to simply tap and drag your app icon. You'll feel a little haptic feedback, and that way you can enter wiggle mode. Now, you can also exit edit mode in a variety of different ways. So one way is to simply tap the done button in the upper right-hand corner. Another way is to simply swipe up from the bottom of the screen like that. And another way is to simply tap on a blank area of the screen like this. Now, when in edit mode, you'll see a little minus sign in the upper left-hand corner of the app icons on your home screen. If you tap that, it will ask if you want to remove that application, and you can go through with that if you wish to, hence a minus sign remove. Now, one of the benefits of going into edit mode, it allows you to move an app icon. So let me show you how to do that right now. We're just going to long press and select edit home screen. It doesn't matter which icon you long press on to do so, but then after that, you can simply tap and drag any of the app icons you wish to move. So I got the App Store app icon, and as you can see, as you move this application, the other apps move out of the way. It's sort of like having two magnets with the same poles pointed at each other. They're going to repel each other. The home screen sort of works in the same way. So we're going to exit wiggle mode there. Let's go ahead and enter wiggle mode again and try it again. And what you'll notice is that each home screen is made up of an invisible 4x6 grid, and each app icon fits within one of those spaces. Now, what about moving to a separate home screen page? Well, you simply simply drag to the edge of the screen like that, and that allows me to move the App Store icon to a whole new page. And no matter the page you're on, it still sticks to the same grid-based principle, so you have that invisible grid where each app icon fits neatly within that grid. Now, another way the app icons are like magnets is that each app icon has to be next to another app icon on the same page. So that means that I can't move the App Store icon down to this bottom area here because there's no other app icons to stick to, so it's automatically going to reposition itself right next to tips. Now, this is where things get, in my opinion, really fun, moving multiple app icons. So we're going to go back into edit mode. We're going to tap and hold on one of these app icons. You can see here I have the App Store, just moving it around. Now, watch what happens when I tap on the News app. Watch this. I tap it and it automatically attaches itself to the first app that I was holding, and I see a number 2 badge in the upper right hand corner. Now if I tap the TV app, now I see a number 3 badge, tap another app, number 4 badge. So I can move all 4 of those apps to this position right here, let go, and then all 4 of them are placed right within that area of the home screen. So let's do this again. I'm going to grab the App Store app. I'm going to tap on News, tap on TV, tap on Podcast, 4 apps I'm holding right there, and I can move those to a desired position on the home screen. I can even move it to a whole new home screen page in a position within that page, but I'm just going to let it go right here. You can see all 4 apps are available right there on that second page. But let's go ahead and grab all 4 of those apps again. I'm going to move back over to the first page and just release right there. You can even grab apps from one page like this and then move to another page and grab additional apps if you wish to. So I'm going to grab these 2 apps here, Tips and Freeform. So I have 6 apps. Now what happens when I move over to this page? There's only 4 blank spots in this invisible grid. I release it, you get 4 apps, and then the other 2 apps are placed automatically at the top of the adjacent home screen page. Now this is a super handy tip. Say I want to move the podcast app to a different page. Well, I grab the app, I drag it to the edge like this to move pages. But there's a more efficient way to do this. Use your offhand while still holding the app to switch pages, like this. So this allows you to quickly switch to the desired page without having to drag the app icon to the edge of the screen in order to find the destination page. And this looks like a good location. And it should come as no surprise that you can also do so when selecting multiple applications like this. So I can just move to the desired page and release like that. Now let's quickly move back over to the first page, like that. But what if you want to create a new home screen page? So what you want to do is go to the last available page, and that's denoted by that last page dot. And now I'm going to go into edit mode, and once you do, you're going to see another dot to the right of that page, signifying that yes, there's a blank page there. And now it's just a matter of dragging an app icon over to that blank page. So let me show you how to do it again. Long press, drag an app icon over to that new page, and now that new page is the last page. Have you ever wondered what the maximum number of home screen pages are in iOS? Well, here you can see I have quite a few pages created, but I'm going to create some more, and we're going to get to the maximum limit, and I'm going to show you what that's like. So speed things up a little bit, basically just dragging all these icons over to new pages, creating as many new pages as I can. And this one right here is going to be the last one, folks. And you can tell it's the last available page because I'm in edit mode, yet there is no little page dot to the right of the final dot. So that indicates it's the last page. Now the question is, how many pages are there? Well, you have this first one. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So iOS limits you to 15 pages. If you swipe on the page dots like this, you can quickly jump between the first and last pages in a flash. Back to the first page. You can quickly jump back to the first home screen page from any page simply by swiping up like that. Now this is similar to my quick switch pages tip. So I'm going to grab the tips app here, but I'm going to use the home screen page dots to move over to the home screen I want to move the app to, just like that. So you can quickly use this to navigate directly to the page you want to get to and then release like that. Now this is probably one of my favorite tips. You can easily rearrange the order of your apps. So say I want to put this row of apps into alphabetical order. So I have App Store, News, Podcast, TV, right? Not hard to do that manually, but there's an easier way to reorder your apps. To do so, you simply grab the apps in the order that you wish them to appear. So you want to grab App Store first. You want that to appear first. Then you grab the News app. You want that to be second. Then you grab podcast third and then TV fourth. You release like this, and look, it places it in the exact order that you specified. So let's reverse that order now, just like that. Now here's another super handy tip. You can interrupt an app icon move. What do I mean? Well, I'm going to drag the App Store app and say I'm moving it around and I change my mind and say, hey, I don't want to move it anymore. You tap done in the upper right hand corner. It places that app back to its original position like you never moved it. I'm going to do so again, but this time I'm going to grab multiple apps from various locations and even move over to a different home screen page, but I'm going to exit edit mode to cancel and interrupt this move by swiping up like that, and now the apps are in their original position. So now let's talk about folders, and these are containers that house one or more apps, and they can be like apps, they could be random apps, it doesn't really matter. But as you can see, you can easily enter or exit a folder simply by tapping on it or tapping outside of the folder. And then you can launch the apps within the folder, and then exit those apps simply by swiping up. It'll go back to the folder view, and then you can tap to exit. There are multiple ways to create folders. The first way, you simply drag an app icon, place it on top of another, continue to hold, the folder will open and create, and then you simply release inside the folder like that. It'll automatically give it its own name. You can customize that later, we'll talk about that. But once you create your folder, you can simply exit edit mode, and there you go. Now another way to create a folder, and this way is quicker and my preferred method, is to drag your app icon on top of another and release like that. Now there are several ways to add an app to an existing folder. You can drag and release just like that. So that's very familiar. So you can see shortcuts inside the utilities, or you can drag the icon on top of the folder and continue to hold on top. It'll open up and then release. And then finally, you can drag the icon, tap the folder, move the icon into the folder and release. And you can create pages within folders. So each page within a folder contains 9 icons. And in the utilities folder that I have here, I have 8 icons. I add the 9th, and then when I tap on it, yes, it automatically creates that second page for me. And when I exit out of edit mode, it just shows the first 9 icons. But as soon as I go into edit mode, you can see it automatically goes over and shows that blank page for the second page because there's not enough room on the first page. And it automatically shows that first page by default, so you don't really know how many pages are within a folder until you open it. And like the home screen pages, you can quickly scroll through folder pages using, yes indeed, the page dots. I only have 2 pages here, so not really a great example, but you get the point. Folders are automatically assigned a name based on the apps inside, but you can rename that folder simply by long pressing on the folder itself and selecting the rename option. It'll put you into edit mode and it will highlight the name of the folder at the top so you can just start typing and edit that name. But you don't have to use that method. You can edit the name of a folder at any time. Whenever you're in edit mode, you open the folder, tap the X, and have edit. Now, whenever you remove all the apps from a folder, it will remove that folder. Let me show you. So I created utilities right here. If I open up utilities, there's 2 apps there, of course. If I drag shortcuts out, it will automatically remove that folder and put translate back on the home screen page as well. Now, I'm going to create a folder with more than 2 apps. So you can see I have 3 apps here. And when I try to do the same thing, it doesn't work quite that way. So I move tips out. I move shortcuts out, but utilities is still a folder with translate inside, so I actually have to move that out of the folder to get rid of it altogether. You can move multiple apps to an existing folder simply by selecting multiple apps like this. We showed you that earlier, and simply drag and drop that stack of apps directly into that folder. You can also move multiple apps to a new folder. So you select multiple apps to create a stack like this, and then place that stack on top of an app icon that you also wish to appear in that folder. And no surprise, you can also move multiple apps out of a folder. So you just drag that first app and tap, 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 and move out of that folder just like that. Now, one of the great things about the dock is it's always present no matter which home screen page you swipe to. So with that in mind, we can use a folder in that dock to have access to a whole lot more apps from any home screen page like that. So now you have access to all those apps in that folder, no matter which home screen page you swipe to. So if those 4 available positions on the dock aren't enough, then definitely use a folder. You can remove a folder and all of the apps it contains from the home screen, but keep those apps within the app library. Let me show you how this works. So I'm going to drag the Amex app here, select multiple app icons to create a stack, and then we're going to drag on this last app icon to create a folder containing 9 apps, like that. But I'm not doing this because I like these apps in particular. I'm doing this because I actually want to remove these apps from the home screen. So you can see all 9 of those apps, I can easily get rid of them. Long press, select remove folder, but it's not going to get rid of the apps. It's just going to get rid of them from the home screen. So you remove those from the home screen like that. The apps are still installed on your device, but they're no longer on the home screen. They're over in the app library. So if I scroll around or if I search, I'm going to see apps like Amex, Apple Store, and any other app in that folder. Okay, so this can be a very annoying issue, the jumping icon issue. So say you want to create a folder including settings, but you want to create it along with an icon, in this case tips, on the adjacent page. What happens when you move over tips? Because there's no room left, well, settings gets moved over to the next page. So what to do there? It's kind of annoying because settings is just gone, right? Well, to get this back, all you do is you tap and hold like this on a blank spot. That brings settings back. And now you can create your folder simply by releasing like that. Super handy trick. Now let's talk about moving an app from the app library this time back to the home screen. So I'm going to tap and hold on Ferrite here, continue to hold, and then you'll see it jump back to the last home screen page. And you'll also see in the upper right hand corner that little green plus indicating it can be added to the home screen. Now you can also just simply drag from the app library directly to that home screen page like that. Now you can move multiple apps from the app library, so you want to just drag your first app like that, swipe back over to the app library, and then tap the apps to add to that stack. So here in this category for entertainment, I'm just going to simply tap on all the apps I want to add to this stack. So I have 6 apps now. Tap to get out of the category, swipe back over, go back to the home screen, and you simply release to add those apps to the home screen. Now within edit mode in the app library, you'll notice some differences. First of all, the minus sign in the upper left hand corner, as you can see here on the home screen, is an X within the app library. Now why is that? Well, if you delete an app from the app library, it's gone. As you can see here, when you tap that X, you get one option, that is delete, and that uninstalls that app completely from your phone. Now you can see Peacock here on my home screen. Watch what happens when I delete Peacock from the app library. It's gone. So when I swipe back over to the home screen, Peacock is no more. Now you can also move an app from the home screen to the app library. So I'm just going to drag podcast and swipe over to the app library and release like that. Now what does that do? Well, it simply removes the app from the home screen while keeping it installed on your device and accessible via the app library. And no surprise here, you can move multiple apps from the home screen to the app library. So we're going to create a stack, simply tap, 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 and then we'll swipe over to the app library and release those 6 app icons into the app library. They're no longer on the home screen, but they're still available here. Now let's talk about how to add multiple app icons for the same app to the home screen. Now notice I'm on the very last home screen page, page 15. I'm going to move YouTube directly to that home screen page. Now watch what happens when I go back to the app library and try to drag YouTube over again. It basically cancels that out because iOS won't let you add a duplicate app icon to the same page if it's the first page that that app icon lands on. And because it's the last home screen page, page 15, it's always going to be that way because edit mode doesn't create that next page over because I'm already on the maximum amount of pages. So to work around this, what we can do, drag over to page 14, drag YouTube. Now page 15, you have YouTube, and simply drag over like that. Now this works because each YouTube app icon landed on its own independent page first. So I got rid of the last home screen page now, and I've left that last page blank. So when I go into edit mode, it'll create that last page. So now when I drag an app over like YouTube, it hits that page first, and that somehow gives it its own independent identity, I guess, according to iOS, and that allows me to drag it over to any subsequent page like that. So yes, you can have multiple app icons for the same app on one or more pages, and I'll show you why this is extremely useful a bit later. Now you can also add apps directly from Spotlight search, so like Siri Suggestions, directly to the home screen like that. So let's try it again. Swipe down for Spotlight, and then in Siri Suggestions, just drag the Find My app down to the home screen page. Now, you can also, of course, search for a particular app. So in this case, Test, there's Test Flight, my top hit. Just tap, drag down to the home screen page as well. Okay, so now let's talk about adding widgets to the home screen. So if you go into edit mode like that, you'll see a plus button in the upper left hand corner. You want to tap that plus button and that will reveal all of the available widgets for both first party and third party applications. You'll see different size widgets, small, medium, and large. You'll also see different previews for various apps. You tap on that preview, it opens up the full view for that particular app, and this showcases all the available widgets for that app. So in this case, the clock app. I can swipe down or hit the X to get rid of it. And there's a handy search at the top. You tap that and you can search directly for a widget. So in that case, I search for a clock, but any app that has a widget you can search for, of course. Now the clock app only has 2 sizes of widgets. So let's find an app that has the large widget as well. So reminders, as you can see, has all 3, small, medium, and large. Now, if you scroll down here at the bottom, you see a list of all the various apps with widgets that includes third-party apps like Timery and, of course, first-party apps as well. So one such first-party app is the podcast app, so you can see that here. So let's go ahead and add a widget to the home screen. So I'm just going to grab this preview for the clock. So when I tap and hold, that widget view will disappear and reveal the home screen, and I can drag it to the desired location. If I want to remove it, I just tap the minus sign and then tap remove like that. So now let me show you another way to add that widget to the home screen. Instead of tapping and dragging, you can just tap where it says add widget, just like that, and it'll place it at the top of the current home screen page. So that adds a medium widget to the home screen. I'm going to go ahead and remove that and open up the widget interface again. And now I'm just going to tap and drag, and I want to show you guys how these widgets work. So basically the small widget occupies the same area as 4 app icons. And you can see as I move that widget, the app icons dance out of the way. Now when I remove this widget, you'll notice 4 app icons return to the home screen. These were the original app icons that were displaced by that widget, which occupies the area of, yes, you guessed it, 4 app icons. So let's illustrate this again. When I add this widget to the home screen, those 4 app icons that were originally on that page are still linked to this home screen page. How do we know that? Well, if I tap done and then I go in and remove this widget, you're going to see those app icons reestablish their original position on that page. So let me demonstrate this again, but in a different way. So I added that widget. You see the 4 original app icons that were displaced by that widget. So one of them being Cash App, Ivory, LumaFusion, and NetNewsWire. Watch what happens when I move this app icon over to the other page. You see Cash App go back to its original page. Now when I move Cash App, you'll see Ivory go back to its original page. All 4 of those app icons will go back once that space is available. So LumaFusion, you got 1 more, NetNewsWire. Now when I move this one, you'll notice you'll have a blank space because there are no more linked app icons that were originally associated with that page. And when I remove that widget, those blank spaces remain. When using multiple widgets on your home screen, you'll notice that it takes up a lot of space. So I'm going to add 1 widget here, I'm going to add another, I'm going to add a 3rd and a 4th, and you can see you only have a 1/3 of that home screen page now available for app icons, but you can use widget stacks to optimize space. So go into edit mode and drag one of the widgets on top of another, just like that. Now the widgets have to be the same size to create a stack, but you can see that stack has been created. You see the little page dots indicating that there are 2 widgets in that stack. Now you get 3, and now you get 4 widgets in that stack. So you can scroll through just by swiping down like that. And now we'll exit edit mode just by tapping done. You can see that widget stack takes up a whole lot less space than having 4 widgets on your screen at the same time. A great way to optimize space. All right, so we have our widget stack here. I'm going to show you how to change the order of the widgets listed in that stack and also how to remove a widget from that stack. So we're going to go back into edit mode, just tap on the widget once in edit mode, and there you have the edit widget view. So you can scroll through like that, and then you want to change the order, you simply tap and hold and drag to rearrange the widgets as you desire. You can also, of course, tap the minus sign in the upper left hand corner and remove a widget from that stack outright. And once you're finished, just swipe up and exit edit mode. Now widget stacks have a feature called Smart Rotate, which will rotate the widgets based on context. And that's great But sometimes you really just want the same widget to always display unless you move it manually. So you can go into edit mode, disable smart rotate like that. You can also turn off widget suggestions, and turning off that smart rotate will ensure that the widget that you select is the widget that will always be displayed unless you purposefully scroll to a different widget. So I like it like that. Now I showed you how you could have up to 15 home screen pages, but how many widgets can you have in a stack? Well, let's go ahead and start adding as many as we can to this stack here and find the answer to it. So I'm going to go into podcast. I'm just going to tap, hold, and drag directly to the stack just like that. And we're going to do all this real quick. So let's go ahead and continue to add as many widgets to the stack as we can. And rest assured, iOS will let you know once you've reached the limit. And we'll add this last one. And you can see it looks like we have reached that limit because the plus sign in the upper left-hand corner is now grayed out. And you can see we now have 10 widgets within that stack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's a great way to add additional content to your home screen in a very small footprint. Now you can edit a widget stack or edit a widget individually. So here, if you long press on the widget, you can select edit stack. That'll open up the stack editor. You can also long press and select remove stack if you want to do that, of course. But some widgets can be edited individually. You'll see this here when we scroll to an eligible widget. You want to long press, and now you'll see, along with edit stack, you'll see edit in the name of the widget, in this case clock, and this allows us to change the location that that clock is using so we have an accurate time for that location. Now let me show you how to move widgets out of a stack. So we're going to long press, and we're going to select edit stack, and now we're just going to tap and drag one of those widgets out of the stack, and now you can place it on its own. Just like that. But the clock widget looks a little lonely, so we'll go back to the stack, we'll drag another widget out, and we'll use it to create a new stack. Now here's another tip. Utilize the Siri Suggestions widget. So you'll see that here in the widget browser. This provides app suggestions. We're just going to add that one to the home screen. Now what's really cool about this is these are dynamic app icons here, so they will change, as you can see right there, based on context, based on what iOS thinks you're going to want to use. And it's fairly smart. It'll eliminate the duplicate apps on the same page. And you can long press and select Don't Suggest if you want specific apps not suggested. To the left of the first home screen page, if you swipe over, you'll notice a dedicated page just for widgets. So you can use this, customize it, and place all of your favorite widgets here for quick and easy access. That way you're not cluttering your home screen and you have that dedicated spot for your favorites. Now, here's a cool tip. You can use third-party apps. One app I'm using here is called Widget. I believe that's how you pronounce it, but you can use this to create quote-unquote blank widgets to further customize your home screen. Now, let me show you how this works. So basically, you select a photo and then you export that wallpaper to your photos. Just like this. But what this app also does is it creates widgets, small, medium, and large versions based on that wallpaper as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new wallpaper and I'm going to select that photo that was exported to my photo library from Widget. So now I have a wallpaper that specifically matches the widgets that Widget makes. I know that may sound a little confusing, but it really is very simple. And let me just show you what I mean here. So I'm going to unblur that wallpaper. So now we have the background wallpaper. So when I add a widget, it's basically going to mirror the background. So it's going to make it seem as if there's a blank spot there. So I go in and you can see already the small, the medium, and large widgets use the same image as the wallpaper. So when I place the medium widget on my home screen, guess what? It looks like a blank spot when I exit edit mode because that widget mirrors that exact wallpaper in that exact location. Now, the question I know you're thinking, well, what if I move that medium widget down? Well, now that doesn't match, but if you tap it, you can edit the widget and change the position. So now I moved it to the middle, I changed the position to the middle, and bam, it matches perfectly just like that. So you have this gap, it looks like there's a blank there when really there isn't, it's just a widget. So I can place the large widget there as well, do the same thing. And for the small widget, of course, you have many more options because you can place that widget in many more spaces, but you can alter that to match perfectly wherever you place it. Just like that. Pretty cool little trick, right? But one of the issues you'll encounter is that when you're scrolling through like that, then it is really obvious that you are just using a widget as a so-called blank space. And then not only that, but when you launch apps, you get this parallax effect that makes it obvious as well. You can see that parallax effect right there on that widget. So one thing we can do to help address this is to go to our settings in accessibility and go to motion and enable reduce motion. And when you do that, when you launch apps or close apps, that parallax effect is gone, so it isn't as obvious that you're using a widget. Now, I've also downsized to just one home screen page, which eliminates the issue when scrolling between pages. Now that reduce motion setting is system wide, but if you scroll down to per app settings and tap add app, you can select home screen. Yes, home screen counts as an app. And this allows you to go in, not only enable reduce motion for just the home screen, but also enable all sorts of other little features regarding accessibility for the home screen. Let me just show you here. So go back into settings, you have things like bold text, you have larger text, you have things like reduce contrast. There's all sorts of little tweaks that you can apply on a per app basis, in this case, just for the home screen. So if you don't want some of these changes to be system wide, well, as you can see there, this will only affect the home screen and the app library, which counts as the home screen. But all other apps are unaffected by these changes because you're using per app settings. And of course, you can remove that just like that. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to add a bookmark to the home screen from Safari. So we're going to open up a Safari page, tap the share button, and then choose add to home screen. And you can see 9 to 5 Macs there. Just tap add in the upper right hand corner. So now it adds a shortcut to 9 to 5 Mac directly to the home screen, and that can be pretty convenient. I'm also going to add another for cellular. All right, so I have the two shortcuts. I tap 9 to 5 Mac. It actually works as sort of a standalone Safari application dedicated to 9 to 5 Mac. And here's something interesting about bookmarks. If I place them in a folder and I remove that folder, they are not sent to the app library. Only applications are sent to the app library, so all the bookmarks will simply be moved out of the folder and placed on the home screen just like that. So just something to keep in mind, because if you try to drag this bookmark over to the app library, it's not going to go in that library. It's basically just going to go back to the home screen. If you want to remove a bookmark from the home screen, you have to choose the delete option. So now I'm going to show you how to add shortcuts actions to the home screen. So open up shortcuts, tap add action, and we'll use switching wallpapers as an example. So search for switch between wallpapers, tap on that as your action, tap the wallpaper variable and choose one of your configured lock screens. And of course that lock screen has a home screen paired with it as well. So tap the inspector button at the bottom and then choose add to home screen. And you can give it its own app icon if you want to do that. And then also give the shortcut a name. So I'll simply call it wallpaper switch. And then I'll tap the add button in the upper right hand corner. And there we go, wallpaper switch on the home screen. Now watch what happens when I tap this. It switches wallpaper just like that. So of course this was just a proof of concept, but there are all sorts of different actions that you can add directly to the home screen via the Shortcuts app. Now you can also use shortcuts to theme your home screen icon. So we're going to open up shortcuts, we're going to tap the plus button, and we're going to select open app, choose the app you want to theme, in this case the music app. And now we're going to select add to home screen. And here's where you can add your custom icon. I'm just going to go into the Files app. I have Iris from my friend SureNix. So I'm going to use the music app icon from his Iris theme, rename it to music, add to the home screen, and there you go. So now you have a custom music app icon. And this is technically just a bookmark, so it doesn't work exactly like an app icon. You can't use quick action shortcuts, for instance, but if you're just looking to theme a specific app icon or maybe multiple app icons, this is a way to do so. Okay, so now let's talk about how to access the home screen page editor. And you can see I have tons of different home screen pages here, but we're going to zoom out using the home screen page editor. So just go into edit mode and tap the page dots to open the page editor view. So you can see all the different pages, and what this will allow you to do is quickly jump directly to a page and you know the exact page you're going to because you can see the preview of the app icons on that page. So you can use the page editor as sort of a shortcut to quickly jump to a specific page if you want to. So now I'll show you how to hide or show home screen pages with the page editor. So to hide a page, you simply uncheck that page and now you can't access it. So this page is now the first page, but we can bring back that hidden page, simply go back into the editor, re-enable it like that, and now this page is once again the first page. Now, let's go into the page editor again, and you have to have at least one page enabled at all times, but watch this. I'm gonna uncheck every page except that first one, and now I just have this one page. Now, let's go back into the editor and let's enable the very last page. So now that page acts as page number 2. You can also use the page editor to quickly rearrange home screen pages. So all you do is simply tap and drag like this, just like an app icon, to rearrange those pages just like that. So now this one is the first page and this one is the second, but we can go back in and rearrange it even further. So what was formerly the last page is now the first page. So let's go back into the page editor. We'll disable that first page. Here's what it looks like now. But let's go back to the editor and drag the original first page back to its rightful position. So now let's talk deleting a page via the page editor. So I'm going to identify a page, this one right here. I want to get rid of it. So I'm going to enter edit mode, open the page editor, identify that page, uncheck it first, and then and only then will you see the minus sign in the upper left hand corner of that page. So when you tap that minus sign, you're going to see the option to remove that page. So once you tap remove, that page goes away and all the apps on that page remain in the app library. So when I exit edit mode, you can see that page no longer there. Now here's something I don't think a lot of people know about. So what happens when I try to drag an app icon from the home screen directly to the page editor? Well, unfortunately you can't do that because when you try to drag that app, the app disappears once the page editor opens. But notice what you can do with Spotlight search. So open Spotlight, I'm going to drag the TV app just like that. I'm going to tap the page editor and now you see the plus button next to that particular app icon. So I can actually drag that app from Spotlight directly to a page that I designate, just like that. But oh, it gets cooler. So I'm going to do that again, open the page editor, but notice as you move the app, you'll see those home screen app icons dancing. So not only can you specify the page, but also the location on the page. And now I'm going to show you how to customize home screen pages using focus modes. So if I go to settings and I go to focus, you're going to see the various focus modes, but you can tap the plus to create a new one. You can create one of the canned focus modes, such as the work focus. So just tap customize focus. So now you can customize your screen. So you can choose the lock screen or home screen. In this case, we're going to choose home. It's going to give you suggested new pages. So these pages, as you can see, are populated with various work-related apps and widgets. It makes sense because this is the work focus. So you can tap one of the suggested pages and further customize that page if you choose to do so. So you can edit that suggested page simply by tapping the edit apps button like that. You have your suggested apps, you can enable those or disable those. But I don't want to get too deep in the weeds on focus because I have a dedicated focus video coming up that goes really in depth on that. But let's now talk about choosing your own custom pages dedicated to this work focus. So I'm going to choose this one right here and I'll just tap the done button in the upper right hand corner. So whenever I enter the work focus, the only home screen page that you will see is the one that I chose. So let's go ahead and test it out. So we're going to invoke our control center, tap focus, enable the work focus in its own. So now you see that home screen is the one that we configured just a second ago. This is a very powerful tool. And when we disable that focus, your home screen will go back to the way it was before. Awesome feature. Now I'll show you how to access your current focus settings directly from the page editor while in a focus. So I'm in the work focus, going to open up the page editor, and now you're only going to see that one page because that's the way that focus is configured, but you'll also see an options button below, so you can tap options. That'll jump you directly to the focus settings within the settings app. So now I'll show you how to customize your home screen wallpaper with focus mode. So you can do this by going into focus and customizing your lock screen, because the lock screen is linked directly to the way your home screen is configured as well. So we saw what I just chose for the lock screen. So if we go to settings and we go to wallpaper, you can customize the corresponding home screen wallpaper as well. And in this case, I'm just going to blur that wallpaper like that. So that's how I want it to look when I invoke that work focus. So let's open Control Center, tap focus, and then tap work. And you can see in the background automatically it changes that wallpaper because it's linked to the lock screen that we chose when we customize the screens within focus. So now we're back to normal. Now, another awesome thing that Focus does is allow you to reveal hidden home screens when entering a specific focus mode. So say this home screen page, I wanted to hide that. So I'm going to go into the page editor and uncheck that page and hide it from the home screen. So the home screen, as you can see, no longer contains the page that we hid via that page editor. So now let's go back into focus settings and edit that work focus, and notice what I have checked there. That's the page right here that I hid earlier via the page editor. So that is what's going to be enabled when I have the work focus turned on. So you can see that page is hidden, but as soon as I access the work focus, it reveals just that one page brought back. And now I can go in, disable that work focus, and now that hidden page is hidden again. So now I'm going to show you how you can strategically use multiple app instances with pages. So I'm going to re-enable that page right here, and say I wanted the Instagram app to be available whether I use the work focus or not. So that would mean I would need a second copy of the Instagram app icon placed elsewhere on the home screen. So I'll just put it right here on the first page of the home screen. So I have the Instagram app here on page 1, and I also have the Instagram app here on page 3, right? Both places. Now, I'm going to go back into the page editor, and once I'm there, I'm going to, again, disable that page. So now Instagram is available here on the first page with that page disabled. And now when I enable my work focus, it's also available on this page. Now I'm going to disable the work focus, and you'll see that I still have access to Instagram. Now I'm going to show you how to invoke custom home screen layouts with lock screen focus links. So I'm going to long press on the lock screen to invoke the lock screen editor. And then here, if I tap the link focus button, you can see that I can link a focus to this particular lock screen. So when I switch to this lock screen, the work focus is automatically enabled. And thus you see this home screen page that I configured just for this focus. Pretty awesome. So now I'm going to switch to another lock screen with no focus linked. And you can see things are back to normal. So let's switch to another lock screen, and we'll swipe over, and then I'm going to tap the link focus button and link the work focus to this lock screen. All right, just tap it, swipe up, and now you can see our single home screen page courtesy of that work focus. So if I open up the settings app, go to focus and select my work focus, should update here, you'll see both of those lock screens under customized screens, just like that. So I can alter these lock screen focus links from this page as well. Now you can also create a home screen shortcut to switch focuses. So I have the Shortcuts app open. I'm going to add an action called Set Focus, and then I can change up the variable. So I'm going to turn on the work focus until it's turned off whenever this action is invoked. So we're going to go ahead and go to our inspector, add to home screen, and I'll just give it a name. We'll call it work focus, and then we'll go ahead and add that in. That will add the work focus to the home screen, and now when I tap that, guess what happens? It switches to the work focus and you get your custom home screen page. So we're going to turn off that work focus and we're back to normal. So now let's go ahead and tap the work focus shortcut again and again. It switches over to the work focus with the corresponding home screen and lock screen. You can see that linked focus there. So now let's unlink the focus from this lock screen / home screen combination. And now when I use the shortcut, it'll switch to the other linked lock screen / home screen. So here's something everyone should know: how to reset the home screen to its default layout. So you want to open up the settings app. You want to tap on General, scroll down and select Transfer or Reset iPhone, tap Reset, and then choose where it says Reset Home Screen Layout. So you tap that, and then tap Reset Home Screen. Now, beware when you do this, it will reset the location of all the app icons and all the widgets to their defaults. So if you added any widgets or you changed the location of any widgets or changed the location of any of the app icons, those will be reset as well. And this also affects any custom home screens you set up for the focus modes. Those too will be reset so you have a completely default icon and widget layout. And then one last tip, you can create a stock focus to quickly make your home screen appear stock. So what I'm going to do is just going to set this up to look completely stock here. Just going to move these extra icons from that second home screen page over here to the app library to get rid of them. So now this looks like completely default setup outside of the wallpaper, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the first two pages because these are the quote unquote stock pages that you get when you first install iOS. And then I'm going to create a custom focus called stock and link those two hidden pages. So this can be great if you're using or you want to take screenshots of your iPhone or you take photos of your iPhone and you want that stock look. This will allow you to get that really quickly. So I'm going to choose a stock lock screen and I'm going to go in here and choose those two hidden pages, the two stock home screen pages, and tap done. So there we go. We're set up with a stock look that we can enable. We can get back at any time just by enabling that stock focus, just like this. So now we have the stock icon layout with the two widgets at the top on the first page, in the various icons in their exact locations that you would find on a fresh iOS 16 install. Now you could take this even further and change the wallpaper to more of a stock wallpaper if you wanted to do that, but you get the point. And then when you're ready to go back to your normal layout, you just disable the stock focus. So ladies and gents, that has been my in-depth walkthrough of the iOS 16 home screen. And my remaining question is this: did you learn something new? Well, either way, let me know down below in the comment section and be sure to hit that subscribe button for similar upcoming videos. This is Jeff with 9to5Mac.